Okay, so I've had this ready for a while now, but I've been procrastinating, so here I am. I am going to be covering everything I know about the perfect spawning rates for Guardians. And I've listed everything here as what I'm going to do. So, first and foremost, for those who don't know, what is a Guardian? A Guardian is the only aquatic hostile mob in Minecraft. It looks like a fish, it has an eye that follows you, and they have laser beams to attack you, which is not normal for Minecraft, but you know, it's a fun mob. And these thorns hurt the player when you don't have super strength. I didn't mean to kill him, but whatever, you get what I mean. And these thorns can attack the player, and they swim around. Now, for those of you who might be wondering what's going on, if you have water and soul sand, they don't actually move, which is a pretty convenient way for me to display what they are, because anywhere else they would just flop around and try to find the nearest water source in most scenarios. But in this world, they're just gonna go everywhere. So, second is, what do they drop? So, as you may have seen when I killed him before, he drops things like this. Shards and fish, and let's see if I can get a crystal here, so I can demonstrate it. There we go. And these crystals. These are used to make blocks like prismarine bricks and other prismarine blocks, or sea lanterns, which are all around here, and these are just really nice building blocks that we use within the game. And another question you might ask is, why do we want these drops? And, well, kind of like you can infer from what I've just said, we just like these blocks a lot. They're nice to build with, and especially the sea lanterns have a really nice touch to just about everything in the game, and which makes them kind of a prime source of building material to have within our world, so we want a massive farm. And how do we produce their drops? Well, I'm going to show some examples later of, what we can do. Where can we find Guardians? So I'm going to make a cut to where they spawn and how we can get them, and then I'll be going through the rest of these point by point. So I'm in a world, which is a copy of the world that we mainly play on, where we have an ocean monument. Now this is the same seed where we built our farm that I'll be showing later, but I loaded up a different copy of it. So you can see that there are Guardians spawning all around this area, and I'll get into specifically where they spawn later on, but I just wanted to show what an ocean monument is, and that Guardians spawn here. And also, not just Guardians, but Elder Guardians. You get 3 per temple, and they don't respawn, so there's no way to make a farm for them. And that leads me into another point. I should cover some basic terminology that we will use. So first is spawn, despawn, respawn. These are terms that we use for when a mob is created. So you might see that some of these guys might disappear or reappear. That's just a term that we use for when mobs spawn. So it's pretty simple. Respawning is when something comes back. And another thing is called a tick, pronounced or spelled tick. So there are 20 game ticks within a Minecraft second, or one real life second. There are 20 ticks, which is how fast the game runs. Like this video is being recorded at 30 FPS. That's kind of like, 30 ticks a second, but Minecraft runs at 20. And that'll be more important later. I just wanted to get that terminology out of the way. Alright, so before showing a Guardian farm, I want to cover exactly what makes a Guardian spawn. Now, a Guardian is part of a hostile mob cap. This is incorporated with... This is a cap for mobs that damage the player. So a creeper will blow up when attacked, and a skeleton has a range attack that attacks players, and there can never be more than 70 within the game. Now, that's how many the game checks for, but it can go over within perfect spawning rates, and you'll see some of that later, but that's just kind of the general idea. So, creepers, skeletons, or I spawn a zombie here, they are all a part of this 70 mob cap. And that's very important, because if they can spawn outside of the farm, within any of this area around it, then that'll lower our rates, essentially. So I'm going to get into some more terminology here. A chunk is what the game uses to process information. I'm going to get right into it. The player loads a 17 by 17 chunk around them, just like so. These all process entities, which are players, mobs, a dropped item on the ground. All of that are entities. And out here are called lazy chunks, where they aren't quite loaded the same, but they will still render things like redstone, which is basically wire in Minecraft. And this is important because the game will check all of these surrounding chunks in the orange and green for hostile mobs. So you don't want any possible location anywhere in this area for any other mobs to spawn because that'll take away from our rates. I hope that wasn't... one more thing, actually. Now, a chunk goes from the bottom level all the way to the top, which is, the Y value, if you look right here. So the chunk will start down at Y, I believe 5 or so, and then it'll check every single potential 16 by 16 area going all the way to the sky limit. So it would be logical to make your farm as low as possible so as to not have the game check for as many chunks. And this can increase rates by honestly a negligible number, but it's still something to consider. Next is what it looks for. So assuming you've got water where guardians can spawn and they're within the temple, you are going to have a game mechanic where the game searches for where to spawn mobs. So within these 16 by 16 area chunks, it'll pick a random point. So I'll be using squids to demonstrate guardians. I know this is a different mob, they just don't move, so it's nice to demonstrate. It'll pick this random point within the 16 by 16 area. Now, within this random point, it will try to spawn a mob. If it isn't water, or, well, for guardians it's just water for a hostile mob, it would just be an air block, but we're just talking about guardians here. So if this block is water, with a block not above it, and area below it, a guardian can spawn. Okay, so you've got a guardian. Now, this happens 20 times a second, okay? So within this 1/20th of a second, there's an 85% chance that another guardian will spawn within this area. And if these areas are eligible spawning spaces where they can spawn, they will spawn. And then there is a 99% chance that he will spawn in a 10 by 10 area, or here 11 by 11. And anywhere out here is potential spawning space, but it happens less than 1% of the time. This is what we call as group spawning. So within 1/20th of a second, you'll see something like that, where just 4 will spawn instantly and fall down. Sometimes if you get really unlucky, you'll just get 1, but more often than not, we will get between 3 and 4 guardians spawning. Now this is a relatively unknown game mechanic, because I'm sure to those who are familiar with Minecraft, you'll see something like this, and that is technically one group. That can happen within the game. You'll probably never know it because there's nothing telling you this information. I got this from the wiki and some other sources on YouTube where people have read the game code, but that's just a fun quirk of the game that we will be looking into. Now, if anybody has had trouble following this, it will all make sense soon when I explain in more detail. So I'm going to go back to the Ocean Monument world and explain why this situation is an issue for us. Okay, so I'm back in the Ocean Monument world. There was one thing that I didn't mention right away because I hadn't explained anything yet, but if I glitch through the wall, well, not glitch, but go through the wall here, you can see that there are a lot of these areas. This is technically called a mine shaft, but these offspurts down here are caves and ravines. All of these are areas where mobs can spawn. Now, a hostile mob, or like a zombie that we have here, can spawn in an area with a light level of 7 and below. So when you have a light source, like a torch, which is a very common one in Minecraft, you can see that it gets darker as it goes out. If I can draw your attention to this light level here, it'll be at 12, 11, and then as soon as I move out, 8 is the last level that it can be, where they won't spawn. At light level 7 and below, a hostile mob can spawn. So essentially, when you have a cave lit like this, nothing can spawn within this bright area, but they can up here, out here, out here. So what we have done in our world, instead of digging a giant hole, is lighting up every single cave so that nothing can spawn within them. Now, there is a small quirk where in certain areas slimes can ignore this light level, but we have done different measures to cover that. But that would take its own explanation, and it is not entirely relevant to this video, other than it can be addressed. So this is something important for the farm, because if mobs can spawn out here, they can't spawn in our farm, and that will take away from our cap, thus lowering our rates. So to get rid of this, we just light them up. Okay, this should be my last little info bit before showing the farm that I'll be showcasing. I've covered mob cap, where we can only have 70. There is something else that affects hostile mobs, but not guardians, called, well, I just label it transparent block, where there are things like glass. This is an item where you can see through it, current doesn't flow through it, but prismarine, brick here, dark prismarine, light can't go through it, and this will slow down spawning rates. Now, there's much debate on whether or not that actually works for guardian farms, but if you have an item like this, it will actually increase rates by 80%, or no, 20%. And now, as I explained earlier in the 41 by 41 area, where it checks 1 block and then 5 blocks out and then 10, if you have a block like this, right there next to the spawning space, if right here was the spawning space, that would actually lower rates, going down in increments that I'm actually not aware of, but right here is 20%, and then it goes down out 21 blocks. And that can actually lower rates, but I'm not actually sure if it affects guardians, so figured I'd throw that in there. And roof, spawning area, drop height, and LC value. LC value is the loaded chunks. I explained that with the height and how it checks for mobs. And now I'm going to cut to the farm so that all of this can make sense. Okay, I've talked about it enough. This is the scientific ideal situation for guardian spawns. I used a mod to outline the area they can spawn in light blue wool here. And anywhere from that light blue wall corners to this corner water block in every direction is where guardians can spawn. As I mentioned earlier and explained why, we have them at the lowest level as to increase spawning rates by a negligible amount. And so, as I explained, water is where guardians spawn. I can't really demonstrate that because we're on peaceful, because I want to keep you in suspense as to how fast this farm is. But the idea is there's water sources at the top, and then the water will flow down. And that's gonna bug me. Okay. Those blocks should be here. Alright. So, the guardians will spawn and immediately get pushed down, rubbing against these blocks, and that's why we have these pillars in here. So as soon as they spawn, they will fall out of the farm as fast as possible. Now, the math has been done by other people. I'm not entirely sure why, but it has been decided that 5 blocks is the optimal spawning space to drop out efficiency rate. I'm not exactly sure why, but many people have decided that 5 blocks is the best for total amount of spawning area and minimal time spent in the farm. Now, I mentioned earlier that drop height is a factor. This is the lowest here that the blocks can be at level 3, and I don't know what that is up there, where the guardians will fall down enough blocks to take damage. How this works is you have a grace period of about 4 blocks. So that will be this first block here, 2, 3, 4. So after here, now if you landed right here, you wouldn't really take any damage in game, but every block going down after this is half a heart, half a heart, half a heart, half a heart. If I head into survival here, you can see that I have 10 hearts, which is 20 hit points, each hit point being half a heart, and guardians have 15. So after this grace period of 4 blocks, they need to fall 30 more blocks to take enough damage to die instantly. So this drop is about 34 blocks. Now, the game is glitchy and guardians flop around a lot, so I think this is 1 or 2 more blocks. But that's just a quirk of the game. So you might notice that we're in a perfect void world. This means I have cleared away all of the land in the surrounding area. You can see it loading in. Please don't do that. Where no mobs can spawn anywhere but the farm. So if I switch into difficulty hard, instantly we should see guardians just raining out of here. This is an estimated 100 or about 95 to 120,000 drops per hour. I have mob loot turned off to save on lag. And as I mentioned before, the mob cap is about 70. You can see it goes above 70, because within that single game tick, so many guardians can spawn within this area that it actually goes above the estimated mob cap. And you can also see that it rarely dips below 70 for more than a fraction of a second. Another thing that guardians check for is a block above. Now, the water that they spawn in, if it has sky access, which means access to the sky, then it has a 95% chance of not spawning. So by having a block like sea lanterns, which blocks out sunlight, which is ironic because it actually creates light itself, this will effectively double spawn rates just by having a roof over it. And that's a really, really easy way to make a super fast farm. So now just to recap, what's going on here is every single game tick, 1/20th of a second, the game is checking for a single point within a chunk. And then there's a 5x5 area, 10x10, and then 41x41 total, but it's hardly effective. And that'll check for a guardian, and it'll try to spawn guardians around them. That's why you'll see most of these guardians are falling in packs of 4. There's 4 there, there's 3, there's another 3, there's 3. If we can get a pack of 4, there's 1, there's a few back there actually. And a lot of them aren't even loaded in. So this is the optimal spawning rates for guardians within Minecraft. Okay, so there were 2 key things that I actually forgot to add that aren't a huge deal, but something that is worth noting. So squids would usually be able to spawn into a farm, and that's kind of a bad thing because guardians will track them and try to kill them, kind of like what's going on here. Instead of falling straight down, he's gotten mad and swam away, and that guy's over there targeting him, and that can stop some of the guardians from falling right out of the farm. Squids spawn at Y level 46 to 63. So you can see this block is at Y46 right here, and they can spawn up even higher than this. But because we built the farm so low, no squids can actually spawn in here. Now, and that'll make the farm somewhat faster on paper, however, it's already so fast that it would make little to no difference if it was visible at all. Same with the other point I wanted to make. With that pack spawning I mentioned, where they can spawn 2 blocks out or more in any direction, technically this spawning area it would be effective maybe 5 blocks out in every direction, but as you can see we already have surplus spawning spaces, so it wouldn't really make any difference at all, even though they could possibly spawn further out than the area we have here. I just wanted to mention that because it is a factor, so yeah, that's it. I lied again. There was one more thing that I wanted to add. Because a friend of mine, Lemon, has been debating me with this. In this case, we use these 2 wide pillars, which isn't 100% efficient. Now what I mean is, with this kind of system, I'm going to use, lapis blocks here, as water spaces. So you can see that every single one of these cubes, or redstone blocks here, has 4 spaces where water can be around it. This is the optimal kind of shape if you want to have every single water block having a block next to it. This technically has about 172 more spawning spaces per layer. This one has 172 less. And loss of spawning spaces is negligible because this farm is already so huge. But there is kind of a debate whether or not this is better. I think that the bottom one is better because of these 2x3 sections. It allows for pack spawning a little bit more easily than maybe this one would, but it hasn't really been tested very extensively, and the little things that we have eyeballed in our own situations has yielded inconclusive results. So this could be better on paper, it probably is, but we went with this anyway because honestly other people do it, so nobody's had an issue with this. We definitely haven't. It's just kind of a debate that we've been having that I figured was worth mentioning, and if you have any input on this, please comment below because I would really like to know the answer to this question. Alright, I made the trip over. Now, this is going to look awfully familiar, but we haven't done all of the mining. So you can see all of this is ocean because that's where they spawn. We have, I don't know where to start. Okay, I'll start with the item stream. We have a collection system below, which I'm not going to be covering in this video because that's redstone and I kind of want to keep it just spawning basics alone. But that essentially just brings all of the items to this constant stream. So in a situation where it's not turned off, like in the other world, this is what you're gonna see. Just a constant flow of items, and if I jump in, these slots will fill up very, very fast. At an average of about 100,000 items per hour, at any given moment, we are producing 27.7 repeating items per second in a situation like this, which is very, very fast. Now, my frames are going to be a little choppy because it's really, really laggy in here. There's a lot of items moving and not very easy on my computer, so sorry for that, but yeah, you can see the guardians are spawning even when I'm down here because we have almost every cave lit up so that they can only spawn within the farm, and if I hop down even further, you can see them just pouring out of here in survival, and this took a little while, but you can see it's working here, and I think that's just gonna wrap it up for this video. I definitely wanted to brag about what we've done in our world because I think this looks really nice. But yeah, that's my Guardian spawning video. I didn't want to make this video too soon because we wanted to finish this first so that I could show, what goes behind making the fastest Guardian farm in the game, and then show one actually built. Now, we haven't gotten every single cave. There are a few that we haven't quite gotten yet, but with school, we just can't really, we don't have the time to do that, so we'll get around to it, but as you can see, this is pretty acceptable as it is, so if you made it this far with my rambles, thanks for watching. If you learned something, please, comment below or share this with a friend because I really think this could help people in making their farms. And I haven't mentioned it until now, but this is actually something I'm doing for a math project in school. So I've been sure to give statistics and stats everywhere I know. But to wrap up with that, I suppose, is my question: what is the fastest Guardian farm? What are the factors that affect it? And let's see if they work. And clearly they do. So yeah, I had to give all that before this because this isn't just another farm in Minecraft, even though it is depending on how you look at it, but there's a lot of math behind it, and there's a lot of science as to why it works the way it does, and it's as fast as it is. So this is just about a perfectly maxed out Guardian farm. I don't really think it could get any faster unless we made it lower down, but that really wouldn't affect too much. You can kind of see it above. We got the roof on top, just like I mentioned, and yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. So yeah, if you made it this far, please leave a like, and thanks for watching.